check. Yeah. Okay, here we start. What is UDS protocol? I guess it's audible to all. Fine. So in here we start. What is UDS protocol? So in this video, we'll start with the interview questions and answers of UDS protocol. That I have promised that we'll see around 100 questions and answers. But let's see how far the things goes, like the timing constraints and all. So we'll wind up with 25 questions, and we'll make it as another 1 or 2 sessions so that it will be fine. Okay, I guess I feel there is no one. It's showing watching, but okay. Conversation. Yeah, hi, Lakshmi. Okay, so okay. So what is UDS protocol? Srino here. Yes. Okay. Okay. Fine. So UDS, that is Unified Diagnostic Services, diagnostic communication protocol in the ECU, within the automotive electronics. So it is just set of rules. This set of rules has to be um, make sure that it has to work under the certain standards. So that's what. Then unified is, see here we have just did the separation of explanation with these words. UDS, that is unified in this context means it's an international and not a company specific or a standard. Say for example, if any XYZ manufacturer has manufactured, they should follow the global standard, that is the international standard, and the standard is not meant to any company. Then how UDS protocol found? It is derived, see, the answer is the it is derived from the ISO 14230-3, KWP 2000, and ISO 15765. So this is completely a diagnostics, and this one is ISO 15765 is completely a CAN or diagnostics. So in this there'll be the services. What are the services we are seeing in the UDS protocol that has been given in this? And if you're coming to this, you can see how the CAN protocol has been over the UDS protocol. So like what is the link or how the difference? So we'll get back with some few tutorials with these 5765 hyphen 3. One second. Yeah, so that is what the UDS protocol is nothing but the ISO 14229. Okay, so this is how the UDS protocol has been derived. Fine. Okay, then what is the similarity between UDS protocol and CAN protocol? So just UDS protocol is a message oriented protocol, whereas CAN protocol is a communication protocol. Like for example, again, if I am talking to you over a phone, so how I should talk is nothing but UDS. That is, I used to transmit you some message, you used to transmit me some message. So that is called, the message oriented protocol. The stuff that is usual for transmitting the information is called the CAN protocol. That also have some standard to follow. So the transmitting medium is a CAN protocol, and what we are transmitting is a UDS protocol. So these has to be clear. Fine. So UDS differs from CAN protocol in a crucial way. The CAN protocol specifies the first and second layer of the, so also the layers also matters. So CAN protocol is the first and second layer, that is the physical layer, data link layer, whereas UDS is the fifth and seventh layer, that is the application layer. So and the session layer. Okay, so this is, here we have not mentioned the session layer and the application layer, but that's what UDS is a application layer and session layer. So that is in this way we can differ UDS protocol and the CAN protocol. However, also it specifies the fifth session, that is that's what UDS has been here I have mentioned. It's a fifth, that is a session layer, and the seventh is application layer of the OSI model. Then how UDS and CAN relates again. Okay, so this is what how it relates. Okay, we have seen. Then why UDS is a message oriented protocol? Because in UDS we have services, we have service ID, we have the we can transmit the data. So these kind of information can be carried out in the hex way, so that it is considered as a message oriented protocol. How can you communicate using UDS? Yeah, so actually let's see, these are all the interview kind of questions that you may be asked for. Okay, so how can you communicate using UDS? So it was developed with the goal of standardizing the different implementation of the procedures, standards, and the new requirements. Say for example, if any car or if any ECUs has met with some problem, there will be a number of ways to broadcast the message to the testers. That is the server, that is server or server can have a number of ways to show that you can transmit, you can show in terms of dashboard, or you can show in terms of any way. So but the standardized is always a standard, that to an international standard. So they have made some set of DTCs, they have made some set of fault codes, so that will resembles the that will that makes the difference, so that it is actually useful. But in terms of how can you communicate using UDS is, it describes we have again we have around five and two layers, that is a session layer and application layer, so that we can communicate using our request, that is a message. We can, wherever you want to transmit, we can just fetch the location if required, and what are the services ID it's required. So what are the information we want, so we can just communicate by using the message IDs as well as the message formats. Then what are the types of request in UDS? So we have what are the we have the UDS protocol, that is request frame, service ID. Then okay, okay, fine. So what are the types of requests? So we have actually we have two types of requests in UDS. We have valid and invalid request. But how the how the request flows, so what is the sequence, what is the format of the request is, this is what the format of the request. So you have the UDS protocol request frame, that is format is service ID, then subfunction. Then subfunction also will have an ID, that is number, so it is not a normal subfunction, it will have some ID if it not exists for the same diagnostic service. Or data types, that is data byte, sorry. Okay, so if it is any data, then that also. Then what are the types of response in UDS? There are two types of response sent by the ECU in for requested service ID. There is positive response. If it is positive response, then it will be 40 will be added. If it is negative response, then it will be indicated by 7F with respect to the NRCs. What is client or tester in UDS? Tester is one who sends the UDS request to the ECU. So I guess many of you have tested or many of you have developed. So but in terms of a second, in terms of a system level, you'll consider as a tester only. So tester or a client is one who sends the request. Say for example, if you want to request for the wheel speed, then you can give a request. So that is just tester is requesting something to the ECU. Then client is the ECU which sends either a positive or negative response. Okay, no, tester as well as the client is both are same. Then ECU is a device that's subject to the testing. It accepts the UDS request. So here you don't know, you don't confuse. So here you can call it as tester as well as client. So again, client is the ECU, is not a client is again a tester which sends either the actually tester and client both are same. So you can just ignore this sentence, you can have tester is one who sends a UDS request. So client is client, you can call it as a tester as well as client, no issues. Then what is ECU? How we have a client as well as tester, like that ECU or server we can see. So it depends on the testing environment how we work. So ECU as a device that is subject to testing, it accepts the UDS request and send the response. So again, the you can just it depends on the place, that environment. Say for example, if you're on the inside the lab, you can make it as a server, you can consider it as a server, or even networking also you'll consider as a server. And in terms of UDS, yes, it is in the lab, you can consider as a server. And if it is in the final output, like say for example, if you are taking the ECU from the car, then you have to consider this as a ECU. Then what is the format of request? So the format of the request is as PCI length. It's a first is PCI length, then it's a service ID, then it's a subfunction or a DID or RID, that is data identifier or routine identifier, or data if it's required. So these are all the format for the request. What is the format of response? The format is as follows. Okay, once again we'll check the comments. Okay, okay, I'll just read out the comments once. I'll just read out the comments. Hi, hi. Okay, what is did? Okay, did is a, it's just now I have mentioned it is, one second. Yeah, fine. So subfunction, then did is a data identifier or a routine identifier. So it is just an identifier. Say for example, if you have a number of data, for particular data, say for example, if your name is saved in the ECU, your name will be considered as a data. For that data you'll have some identifier. By using that identifier only, tester can retrieve the information from the ECU. So that is what identifier did is. Then I'll try to answer all the queries about. Yes, okay, that is J1939 is again another protocol, so we can see it in our future. Then DDT 2000 tool used for UDS. Fine, we have a number of tools like diagnostic engineering tool, CAN tools. Then two XML file we are uploading. Which are they? Okay, I guess in which perspective you're asking, I'm not sure about this. Is UDS used universally? Yes, UDS is used universally. It should be the, if the car has been developed, then it should be follow the UDS protocol. So that is mandatory. Can you explain about the functional addressing with a scenario? Okay, so for example, if you want to communicate with multiple ECUs, that is just a common definition. If you want to communicate with the multiple ECUs, then function addressing comes into picture. In terms of, again, in terms of real time, if you want to communicate with the if you are just taking the car in the garage, and if you want to check for the integrated faults with all or ECU, then you'll come across this functional addressing. So physical addressing is one to one, that's it. Then please describe about routine control. Okay, routine control is kind of say for example, if you want to use certain functions irrespective of any condition, then you can use the routine control. So just the simple statement is routine control is it will just stop the normal operation, and it will continue, it will stop the normal operation, and it will start with the interfered operation. Say for example, if I am doing something, you are it's like a kind of interrupt only. You are interrupting, then I will stop my current operation, then I will come to your case. Once I complete your stuff, then I will again continue my normal operation. So that's what this routine can be used in many places, like even opening the walls, closing the walls. So those conditions also we can use with respect to the routine control. Okay, then sorry, please describe. Okay, XML scripting, please. Okay, I'll check it out. Then please can explain request overriding. Okay, why? Okay, why protocol adds? Okay, request overriding is, for that you will get the response like server is busy, like that you'll get the response. So so that is if you are giving the more requests, say for example, if multiple request has been given, then you will it will be considered as a request overriding. So it will check for the priority, like if the tester is, that is, if the client is not at all allowing the time to check for the priority, so then that will sense the NRC, that is busy request. So that is what overriding. Then okay, y40 plus y40 is add, so it is a sixth bit will be high, so that is on so that is what will be given, in our channel also you can see these this video, that is y40 plus is added for the UDS protocol, the positive response. Fine. Then okay. Okay, so what is NRC 22? It is a condition not correct, and under five circumstances NRC 22 will happen. So like if it is operation is, it is not acceptable, or say for example I'm giving you one small example. So if you are riding the car, or you are just in your garage, you are checking the engine RPM. So your engine RPM is more than, say, something some 1500, sorry, or 15,000 RPM. So at the time you are requesting something, the request, whatever you are requesting, the condition is it should not exceed the engine RPM, like more than 10,000, but you are requesting for 15,000. So at that time it will throw the NRC 22. So there is, the condition is not correct, say the precondition is not satisfactory. So that's what. Then can you explain about the DTC status bit? So I'll just I'll explain the DTC status. It is a 8 bit. So it is like yeah, test fail this operation cycle, then confirm DTC, pending DTC. So that I'll try to make a separate video for that, or we'll make another session that I will let you know. Thanks for this. How to priority the NRCs. Super. So NRCs also, in the UDS document you will have the NRC chart. Like say for example you are giving two invalid condition, but obviously ECU will send you only one ECU as only one NRC as the output. So how it will priority? So it will be taken care by the standard only. Say for example I am giving subfunction not supported, as well as I am giving the incorrect length. So two NRCs I am sending, but I will get only one NRC. So that is what the priority has been given by the standard. So that I will explain in, again I'll explain in another tutorial. So we'll just note it down. Then 22 condition, what is the use of status mask? Okay, so status mask is nothing but it will mask the status of the fault. Say for example if the fault is active now, and in another cycle the fault will maybe it may be healed. So at the time the fault status will be masked by the operation. So that is what it named. So status mask, the name itself, it is something, it is closing. So which one it is closing is, it is closing the it is closing the fault. Then what is the difference between CAN identifier and data identifier? See, CAN identifier is different, and data, yeah. So what is the difference? So in if you consider the CAN ID, you'll have only the CAN identifier is, if you say for example if you are using some nodes, if you are using three nodes, you'll have only three ID for the three nodes. But inside node you will have a number of messages. For the each message also you will have some IDs. Inside each message you'll have a number of signals. Then for that signal you will have more data. So that is what DID is. So you will have, for say for example your your vehicle manufactured date, your vehicle registered date, your everything will be a data. That for just for making the data in as a variable, the DID is been used. CAN ID is for referring the CAN. That is it is top level, and this one is bottom level. So there is not much no relation between this. Then Difference between routine control and IO control along with example. So it is both are a different service that I will give in a separate video. So if not, you can just leave a comment also in some video tutorial, so that we'll make the topic noted and we'll make it. So what is supplier and what is manufacturer? So for example, what is supplier and manufacturer notification? Okay, supplier. Okay, say for example, if you are working in some companies like KPIT, Continental, Robert Bosch, those are all suppliers. If you are working in Renault or Mercedes Benz or Tech Mahindra, they are all OEMs. So that is the difference, supplier and manufacturer. So manufacturer is say one online example. Supplier is a Robert Bosch, and manufacturers are Audi, Benz, BMW, like that. Can you explain functional requirement ID, physical ID? Fine. Sorry, but what is UDS? Yeah, UDS is that is the first, in our first slide we have given. Then Nayana Tirtha, hi. Where UDS is tested tools. Sorry, I didn't get your question. Where UDS is tested tools. Okay, can you explain hill validation? Okay. Can you upload this video after answering all the questions? Yes. Okay, we'll upload. Then the space explain me. Yes, definitely will come up. How to verify the DTC is active or inactive? Okay, so again, it's a very good question. So to verify the DTC is active or inactive, it is depends on the status of the DTC. That's what I think somebody has been asked. Explain the status of the DTC, like pending DTC, confirmed DTC. So by using the status of the DTC, we can ensure the DTC is active or not. That I will explain in the some other tutorials, that is individual tutorial. Explain ECU startup flow, that is ECU have a wake up as well as sleep. So okay, if it is any one line online answer I can do, else I will make an individual video. Before entering the programming, okay, before entering the programming session, we do tester present, then we'll stop the communication. But how the client will detect the tester present is while, sorry, but how the client will detect tester is present while in the programming session? No, it's not required to detect actually. So no so once you stop, then actually while in programming session you will have the your application or your your real intention programming session is to flash or to upload or download, like the bootloaders kind of functionality. So at the time it's not required for you to be in a tester present. That is, your tester present is no longer required for that. Explain about decision table technique. Yeah, that is completely software testing. Yes, we'll come up with that. Then okay, or did PID LID or same? Is there any difference? Maybe all are different. All are difference actually. It is not a same. What will be the NRC in the UDS protocol when I switch extended to programming session to, okay, so what will be the NRC? So it will be the condition not correct, that is 22. What is important of clear DTC and read DTC? So what is important of clearing DTC and read DTC? Not getting what is important? Oh, what is the need of clear DTC and read DTC? So read DTC is just to read the DTC. If your the DTC is no longer required, then you can do clear DTC. Can I get UDS to Python code on online to make UDS testing tool? Okay, UDS to Python, yes, you can do. You can do, yes. Thanks for answering. But when I reacts one request before getting 5 period response, that another request will be happen, means which TX will respond first? Sorry, thanks for answering. Okay, but when I transmit one request before getting response, okay, you are before getting response, then yeah, that's what you will get. The response for your second request, the response will be NRC. Okay, then once the first request completes, then it will gives the first request positive response. why response always, okay, it is again the sixth bit. Then you can for this you will have a separate tutorial. If you just type why response always added, you will get another one, another tutorial. So that in that we have mentioned, is there any difference between 04 and 14 services? Definitely the difference is there, else they may not have the different services. Okay, so what is the length of the DTC status byte info? It's 8 bit, 8 bit. Okay, so it is 1 byte of data, inside that 8 bit will be there. Okay, so fine, so we'll get back, we'll just try to finish it off. So what is the format of response? The format is as follows. So it's a PCI length, then service ID, that is a response, 40 will be added. So the 40 will be added. We have another separate tutorial, video tutorial, you can just watch there. Then subfunction, so this is the same. Then what do you mean by PCLN? It's a protocol information. So this protocol information is used to define, so what is the number of byte I am going to define. In the same way, the tester ECU also will reply as what would be the what would be the stuff, what would be the data length I am going to respond to you. So that is what PCLN. Then what are the functional groups in UDS? So we have 6 functional groups. One is diagnostics and communication management, then data transmission, stored data transmission, IO control, remote activation of routine, and upload and download. So in these 6 functional groups only, we have a 25 to 26 services has been categorized. Fine. How are the services in UDS? So what are the the next question, in the first question will be in your interview. Okay, what are the services in UDS and what have you worked so far? So it should be your answers. Say for example, we have around 25 or 26 or 26. If you include the transfer exit, that is transfer data, then it will be 26 services. So you can tell it is a 26 services in the UDS, and I worked on some 5-6 services. Whatever you worked, you can tell. You don't want to include that what you not worked, so that you can just be clear in your answers. Then what do you mean by faults? So fault is a problem or a defect that occurs in a car. So that for the fault only, if we are dealing with the UDS. Then what is SID? It is a simple, it's a service ID. So even this is a very simple, but you may have this kind of question in your interview, so that you should answer. Even we have some question, what is the difference between SID, LID, PID? So just you have to make sure with the abbreviations also. So how you relate OSI model with UDS? In our previous slide, we have seen the UDS is the fifth layer and the 7th layer, that is session layer and the application layer in the protocol. So 5th and 7th layer. So what do you mean by valid request? So under the valid conditions, for example, if I'm giving the request, that is diagnostic session control or extended session, that is subfunction, in a valid condition, so that is called valid request. If you are giving invalid request, say for example, if your request should be in 10,000 rpm, but your rpm is 15,000, still you are trying to give a request, so that is invalid condition. So that is called invalid request. And if you are giving within the 10,000 rpm, that is called valid request. This invalid request. So what is positive response? So if you are giving the valid request, then the ECU will give you the positive response. If you are giving the invalid request, the ECU will give you the negative response. So these are all, it's a very simple concept, simple stuff that I just want to make sure that you should answer in a proper way. So what is NRC again? So negative response code. We have and the next question will be, what are the NRCs are there and what are the NRCs you are worked for? So you can tell what are the NRCs you have from the top to end. Then you can tell what are the NRCs you faced so far. Then that's what types of NRC and what NRCs you worked so far. So it's your answers. Fine. So I'll check with these comments and we'll wind up this session. Fine. So what is positive suppressed response? So this is another concept. Say for example, in a one line I can tell, so in the name itself, it is just it will suppress the low priority or low severity fault, then it will give the positive response. So this will gives in the conditions. Say for example, if you are checking for five faults, okay, in that five fault, one fault is so severe, you want to ensure that the severe fault has been uh, healed or not, but the other four faults are also there. So you will have the confusion that because of the other four faults you will this fifth fault also occurring. So what you can do is you can just suppress the other four faults with the positive suppress response, so that although it is a fault, it will give you the positive response, and you can clearly see only the one fault. Or in other terms, you can tell, if you have n number of fault with the severe fault, you want to check only the severe fault. That is, you just the mechanic has what he just fixed the severe fault, and he need to ensure the only the severe fault, so that the low priority and low severity fault will be suppressed. So that once it's suppressed, then you can check for the severity fault. So that is what the positive suppress response. Then, can security access be applied to unlock a session apart from default session? Yeah, it is. It is applicable. It is applied to unlock the sessions. Yeah, you can unlock in extended session, not programming session. In extended session, you can unlock. Then, size of the DTC. Yes, it is good question. So DTC is a, it's a three. Wait. So the number of DTC is, it's a 3 bytes. So we'll have, say for example, one second. So size of DTC, 7, yeah, fine. It is a 3 DTC, 3 bytes. Okay, then in status byte, the bit test not completed this cycle. When can we see? So this true in in this test case. Okay, so this that's what this status byte, I will make a separate video. We have the 8 bit. I need to explain the each and every single bit. What is the use of the session parameter record in the, okay, fine. So I'll just again I'll get back with, instead of keeping these kind of question in the PPT, I can just answer only to your question. So that will be really interesting. Quite, I'm also getting some new questions. So I'll just catch you soon, maybe in next the weekend, that after 5 6 days I'll get back to you, or sorry, after this Saturday or Sunday, I'll get back to you. So that until then, you just have a more question, so it will be really helpful. So I'll just post this video in the public, so you can watch and you can get benefit with this. So thanks for your support and waiting for me. Thanks a lot. We'll catch up soon.